What's up, everybody? This is Lavelle Hewitt, your host of Do It in the Dark, a podcast that focuses on introspection and accountability, how to pick yourself apart and put the pieces back together. So take this journey with me as we redefine who we are, how we got here, and move forward confidently toward the future. Do It in the Dark is an opinion-based podcast based on research, statistics, and my personal views. These comments are not represented by any political, religious, or government entities. The views expressed on this show are mine and mine alone. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Do It in the Dark with Lavelle Hewitt, a podcast on introspection and accountability. Today, we're going to be discussing the word power. We're going to look at it from three different angles. What is power? How do we use power? And I want us to really reflect on it from a personal standpoint, because this show is all about working on ourselves. What do we want with power? So the three things again, we're going to look at what is power by definition. We're going to look at what is power used for? And then we're going to look in terms of ourselves. What do we want with power? What can we do with power? To kick things off in that manner, I want to read an excerpt for you guys. The passage that I'm about to read comes from a book by the name of The Art of Power. This book was written by Thich Nhat Haan. It's a great read. It's one of my favorite books, and I encourage everybody to pick it up. Don't just read the book, but you have to read it with intentions on trying to understand your personal journey as it relates to wanting power. And I think you'll get a better understanding, and it'll feel different in terms of your interpretation of what is meant in the book. So let me read this to you guys. What does power mean to us? Why are people willing to do almost anything to get it, even if we are not aware of it? Most of us seek to be in a position of power because we believe this will enable us to control our life situations. We believe power will give us what we most want: freedom and happiness. I'm going to speak from a personal perspective as I address what I just read. I equate power and success to being the same thing from a business perspective. I'm a businessman. If you are powerful in your industry of business, then by the results of being successful, the power automatically comes with it in terms of decision making and also having options to do things in the business world. I consider myself to be fairly successful in the healthcare industry, but I still do not consider myself to be a powerful person as it relates to business. Now, in reading through this book, it helped me to uncover some things about myself. And that's why, of course, this podcast, Do It in the Dark, is about introspection. And if you missed the first episode, we covered in that episode the title of the podcast and also the highlights of introspection and accountability. As I take accountability for myself and what I'm looking for out of life, as it relates to the topic today, power, this book has allowed me to recognize I'm not searching for power within the business industry. What I'm looking for and have been looking for most of my adult life is power within myself. And I know you're probably thinking like, okay, that's very generic, but it's true. Let's look at what the full definition is, right? So according to dictionary.com, power has two definitions: the ability to do something or act in a particular way, especially as a faculty or a quality, the power of speech. So they're talking about being able to use your words. We all know that there are power in words. We've all grown up with the adage that if you put it into the atmosphere, your words become the things that you eventually attract back to you, right? That's the way the universe works. If you believe that to be true, then obviously this definition is of value. The second definition states the capacity or ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or the course of events. That is the second definition of power. So in relationships, if you look at just, dating relationships, in some toxic relationships, one person may have power over the other. Or even in our social spectrum, a lot of people have social influential power over a mass of people, right? So it is possible to have power at your fingertips and misuse it. I'm sure we understand that. But if we go back to the premise of what we're all looking for, the power that we most want in life is something that we already possess. The problem is fear is generally in front of us, and the fear is what keeps us from acknowledging the power that we already harness. So my challenge to you today, as we, dig deeper into the word power, is to, one, process the definition of most words. And then two, in our social spectrum, in our social surroundings, our atmosphere, how is that word being utilized? What is power used for? Power can be used for good. Power can be used for bad. And then thirdly, as you look at yourself from the inside out, introspectively, what type of power are you looking for? So for me, as I continue to better myself and take this journey, being in the dark by myself, doing the work, as we say, I don't want power of status in the community anymore. I used to. This book really helped to open my eyes about that. I don't want that anymore. What I want most now is to master myself, become the power that is stored in me, right? I want to become that power, that meaning I want to be the influence just by virtue of doing what makes me happy. If I can eliminate the emotional output in terms of reactions to things, it will help me to become a more powerful person. With power comes discipline. And I think as I'm taking this journey, my goal is to be more of a disciplined business owner, more of a disciplined father, more of a disciplined human, because the humanity that we give and that we spread to others is a reflection of how we truly think and behave when we are by ourselves. I just want to be more of a complete happy person. And I think that's one of the qualities of realizing what you are truly looking for in life. So as we talk about the word power, and as I deep dive into the definitions and also utilize the true essence of in social environments, how power is used and misused, I want to be very careful of the power that I have and what I do with that power. So as we take stock in ourselves, I want you to think about that. The definition of the word power, how is power used? And then what do you want with that? What do you do with that? I just want to be happy at the end of the day, right? So before I leave you guys today, I would like to read a quote that I want you to reflect on until we get back together for the next episode. And this quote really, really made me think about my life as a whole and my life in pieces. And I encourage you guys to do the same thing. I encourage you guys to look at your life in whole and in pieces. The quote says, people have a hard time letting go of their suffering out of a fear of the unknown. They prefer suffering that is familiar. And that is from Thich Nhat Haan, the author of that book that we talked about, The Art of Power. So I ask that you guys take that with you and do with it what you can as you continue to work on yourself. And remember, this is Do It in the Dark, a podcast about introspection and accountability. Until next time, turn the lights off because the work begins in the dark. I'll see you soon. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Do It in the Dark with Lavelle Hewitt. Please subscribe and follow us on all social media platforms. Until then, turn the lights off because the work begins in the dark.